Derby County have made a huge range of changes to their academy structure across the course of this summer, including some staff members moving roles as well as the introduction of a brand new B team. But what does this mean for academy products like Cruz Allen, Dan Cox and Kai Robinson? Does this impact their transition to the first team? Now I'm going to go through all of that in this video. I'm going to discuss the changes that have been made, if they are actually changes, because some of the things that have been discussed, Derby County have already been doing. Now, obviously, you can let me know your thoughts on these changes down in the comments. Do you think it's a positive? Do you think it's a negative? And what academy player do you think is going to break into the first team this season? Now, obviously, if you have not done so already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell. But shall we get into discussing the changes to the academy? Do you want to win yourself the brand new Derby County 2025-26 home shirt? Well, I'm here to give you an opportunity to do that. There will be a link down in the description where you can head on over to raffle.com to join a raffle where you can win the Derby County home shirt. Ticket prices start at just £1 with a range of different discounts available. You can buy 2 tickets, get 2 free, 5 tickets, get 5 free, 10 tickets, get 10 free, and 15 tickets to get 15 free. The intention with this is to give you guys the opportunity to win a Derby County shirt for less than the valued cost in the shop. So if you haven't done so already, head on down to the description, click on the link in the description, which will take you over to raffle.com, create yourself an account, answer the question, and join this raffle. The winner will be announced on August 1st at 6 p.m. as the transfer window begins to draw to a close. So if you haven't done so already, head on over there and get your tickets. Derby County have introduced a brand new B team model, which will serve as a brand new extension to Derby County's first team squad / first team environment. Now, this has been in planning for several months. Now, in my opinion, realistically, this has been in planning for the last few years. When over the course of the last few years, Derby County have had their academy playing in a range of different competitions, which realistically were more sort of like reserve team competitions. If you look back to last season, and I think the season before, we played in, I think it's called the Central Midlands League, in which Derby County faced up against the likes of Notts County, Bolton Wanderers. It might have not been Bolton, but there was a load of teams which we faced in that competition, of which were essentially mixes of academy squads and first team players recovering from fitness and things like that. And I think this introduction of a B team is just further adding on to that. And that's why, in my opinion, I think this has been more years in the planning than it has been sort of months, if I'm completely honest, because we sort of made this move towards this over the course of the last couple of years. Now, the academy manager, Matt Hale, has said the innovative concept will provide a base for our high potential academy players to get game time alongside and against senior footballers, with a key aim of bringing the first team methodology closer to the academy, ensuring enhanced experience and opportunities for every player within the PDP phase, the professional development phase. Now, obviously for Derby County, this is good news in regards to those players that are sort of at the top of the list. You look at a Cruz Allen, and now McAndrew, a Luke Banks. You look at the Gordons, Isaac Gordon and Case Gordon. Both of them will probably end up playing football with this squad. Essentially, there's so many sort of players from that academy now that will get the opportunity to play in and around the first team. We saw it last season with Joe Ward. We saw Martin Waghorn, Connor Washington, Corey Blackett-Taylor playing some of the games with what was then the 21 squad in these sort of reserve team competitions. Now, in addition to that, the Rams B team will participate in the Central League, Derbyshire Senior Cup, alongside a number of elite senior friendly fixtures, while the under-21s will continue to compete in Premier League 2 and the Premier League Cup. Now, the Central League we've played in for the last couple of seasons, doesn't surprise me. The Derbyshire Senior Cup, I believe we have played in that as well. I know we played in it when I was there during 2022-2023, and essentially you play a lot of the sort of non-league teams around Derbyshire with an aim of obviously getting to the final and winning a trophy. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we got to the final recently. It might have been last year, might have been the year before, and lost in the final. Now, this is obviously great opportunities for those younger lads. Maybe some of the ones who necessarily aren't going to make the grade at first team, it gives them the opportunity to get their foot in within sort of the non-league sort of standpoint, which obviously I think Derby County have done really well recently in giving their academy players those non-league opportunities, because someone like Harry Hawkins was at Telford last year. I think they got promoted. You've seen Jack Thompson, Harry Evans have gone out and played at the likes of Mickleover. I believe Thompson spent time at Kettering Town as well, which I think is really important for those young players in order to go out, get some football and actually sort of push on maybe into a future first team role. Now, who is going to be leading this process? Now, Keith Briggs will be the B team lead coach. He was previously assistant manager to Jake Buxton across the course of the last few years in the under 18s and in the 21s over the course of the last few seasons. This will see him obviously manage the group through obviously their fixtures as well as coaching them for the principles of the first team and sort of where they sort of essentially need to be by the end of their time within essentially the B team. I think this is a brilliant idea actually because it gives Derby County the opportunity to give some of those players that are maybe like 19, 20 that maybe aren't quite there, but we know in football there's so many late bloomers these days. And I know the glaring obvious one is Jamie Vardy. He didn't play in the Premier League till he was 26, 27 and went on to arguably one of the best Premier League strikers to ever grace the Premier League. And obviously that's sort of really important to talk about. Now, what changes have been made in terms of personnel? Now, obviously, I've just mentioned Keith Briggs going from 21's assistant manager to the B team lead coach. We've also seen the introduction of Keith Gilroy. Gilroy is coming in to be the head of academy coaching. I think he takes over from Rich Astle, I think his name was, who was there when I was there. He might still be at Derby, to be honest with you, but I believe that's the role that he's taken over. Gilroy has a wealth of experience within academy football at Derby earlier in his career. Spent time at Burton Albion most recently, where he was the lead development phase coach as well as head of coaching, and most recently their academy manager at Burton Albion. Now, as I mentioned in the video yesterday, Jake Buxton has moved into a role that was previously held 2 or 3 years ago and for a while by, I believe it was Justin Walker, where he's essentially turned into what is the senior transition coach, which is essentially the coach that guides those players that come up and train with the first team, maybe are involved in the first team squad. And I think it's really important that it's Buxton in that role because Jake Buxton has worked with pretty much all of the players in this academy who are coming up in both his role as the under 18s as well as his role as the 21s more recently. And I think it's very important to see him sort of keep that role. And in my opinion, not that I'm saying Jake Buxton should ever be forced to leave Derby County or anything like that, but I think that transition coach is something that should be changed every 3 or 4 years because obviously now over the course of the next period of 4 years, we're going to see a brand new cohort of youth talent that's going to come through that Jake Buxton won't have worked with and won't have had that sort of opportunity to learn and understand like he has done with this one. So it wouldn't surprise me if in a few years' time you see maybe Danny May or you see Bradley Johnson step up into that senior transition role and Jake Buxton sort of move into a different role again. But obviously we'll have to wait and see. Now, it is explained in regards to Jake Buxton that the former defender has worked with the first team during the latter of 2024-25, which I think we all knew anyway. And the new role will see him concentrate on individual player development with first team players as well as those high to potential academy players who are making that transition into the senior environment. Now, as a result of Jake Buxton moving up from his role, it was originally, I believe, Keith Briggs who took on the 21s for the back end of last season, but now it's going to be Danny May who's been promoted to the role of senior professional development phase coach. He served as the lead under 18s coach since he arrived back in 2023. He will oversee the club's under 18s and 17s programme while also leading the under 21s programme as well, including their fixtures in Premier League 2 and the Premier League Cup, alongside some further duties which will be involved in his role, which I believe is sort of like there'll be a lot of stuff in regards to sort of the first team coaches and going through sort of all that analysis phase and sort of which players need to do what and where they need to go and how they can sort of move forward. And then obviously there's the discussion around who then is going to lead the under 18s, who's going to be that coach, who's going to be training them Monday to Friday, who's going to be taking their matches on the weekends and midweek nights when they play during the week. And that is going to be former Derby County midfielder Bradley Johnson, who we know has been sort of coaching at Derby over the course of the last few years. First came in as a under 21s player coach where he helped out with it was Jake Buxton, who'd just been moved up, and then obviously more recently retired from the game and now finds himself as the lead coach for the under-18s. Now, the 2024-25 was the the final season of his career, but it was the first season of his coach as a coach with the under-18s, and he will now lead what is looking to be one of the most promising groups to come out of Derby County in the Premier League, where they'll play in Premier League North, as well as the Premier League Cup, and obviously the FA Youth Cup, in which I don't think Derby County have ever won, but it would be nice to see us get there. And with some of the players we've had over the years, I'm actually surprised we haven't put ourselves in that position. Now, obviously, in regards to the academy, I pretty much think that is about it. Now, you can obviously let me know your thoughts on it down in the comments. I actually think this is a great move for Derby County. I think the introduction of a B team gives a great opportunity for those players returning from injuries to play in more competitive fixtures. I think it gives players like Jake Rooney, Dejon Brown, Cruz Allen, obviously players like that, to give themselves the opportunity to obviously develop around first team senior players. And I think, obviously, I'm not saying that the likes of Martin Wycombe will go and play in this team or anything like that, but it gives players towards the back end of their career a brilliant opportunity to help guide these players into the right sort of phase in order for them to be able to make it to the first team. And also, realistically, if you've got the right sort of first team players in that team, you can also get them to realise that maybe they're not made for, let's say, championship football at Derby County, and sort of open up their eyes to going and playing in non-league and going and getting experience there while they're still at Derby County. And obviously we'll have to wait and see sort of how that obviously develops over the course of this season. I'm actually really intrigued to see how this one does go, because I do think it's going to be an interesting one. But you can let me know your thoughts down in the comments if you have not done so already. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, and I'll catch you in my next video later on. Do you want to win yourself the brand new Derby County 2025-26 home shirt? Well, I'm here to give you an opportunity to do that. There will be a link down in the description where you can head on over to raffle.com to join a raffle where you can win the Derby County home shirt. Ticket prices start at just £1 with a range of different discounts available. You can buy 2 tickets, get 2 free, 5 tickets, get 5 free, 10 tickets, get 10 free, and 15 tickets to get 15 free. The intention with this is to give you guys the opportunity to win a Derby County shirt for less than the valued cost in the shop. So if you haven't done so already, head on down to the description, click on the link in the description, which will take you over to raffle.com, create yourself an account, answer the question, and join this raffle. The winner will be announced on August 1st at 6 p.m. as the transfer window begins to draw to a close. So if you haven't done so already, head on over there and get your tickets.